I have to say, before I jump into some questions, I'm going to nerd out a little bit over this movie. It's my favorite movie of the year. I am obsessed with every single Broadway show that you've done, and I'm a big fan of your work on this. And I think that every costume in this, unlike other movies, I believe that every single item of clothing that these characters wear belongs in their closet. I don't think anything in this movie is flashy to be flashy. Okay. Sorry.
I appreciate that. No,
yeah.
Thank you.
Since you have such, experience on stage, I was curious if you thought any pieces would be different if you costumed West Side Story on stage rather than on screen.
Wow, that's an interesting question. I guess I don't know that it would be different if it was being directed by, if it was on stage being directed by Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
I think that, I guess, my sensibility and my attention to detail is one that lends itself well to film, as well as theater as a venue. So much of decision making when you're designing for theater is, to have it read, to the back of the house, or so it's about scale.
Or like if it's a quick change or something like that. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, so thankfully we didn't have to worry about quick changes. I mean, that just wasn't for the film. But I think as far as with West Side Story, the intent is to have it feel realistic, naturalistic, and I would want that for a production on stage as well. Having the support and backup of real buildings and real concrete and background, crowds of background, and all of that, just helped to support, what we were doing with the clothing, and I'm happy with what that mashup was.
Okay. I wanted to ask about color choices, sort of in a generic sense. I have this book, because I'm a giant nerd, and for some reason, this picture really struck out to me with the Jets on top and the Sharks down below. And then I rewatched the movie again, and I noticed that the Jets are in a lot of bluish tones.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed the Sharks are in a lot of red. I sort of like it when the colors sort of, when you see someone from the other side wear the other color, like when Maria is singing I Feel Pretty, she has a maroonish frock with a blue sash.
Mm-hmm.
I was curious about that choice, just because I like the differentiation. I wasn't sure if one gang had one color and the other one did. I wasn't sure, so I was curious about the choice. Yeah.
You hit it up, the nail on the head. I hope for costumes, as an element, that they become a storytelling element.
Mm-hmm.
Within any production that I design. That it's not just about dressing people, dressing characters, but that it actually carries some, some theme that's specific to how the story is being told. One of my big ideas was to keep the Jets in a cool palette.
Mm-hmm.
That I feel was reflective of, just kind of hope drained, hope that, that it kind of gone a little cold, versus the Sharks that are embodying the energy, one, the energy of hope, and also of the communities, the island that they've come from, the tropical island that they've come from. And so, you might notice on the women, their girlfriends, and the women of the Latinx community, I've reserved flower print for that community, and also, the warm color palette that you were pointing out. As well, with the men, the oranges and rusts and browns and reds are very present within the sharp color palette. What it does as well is it creates these two different teams, these two different sides. Whether it's like football teams or it's two different countries or factions, or it's holding them apart and then seeing how that mashup can be exciting when they come together. So that that's definitely what was in place stylistically for me.
Yeah. And also, I just want to say it as like a side comment. This isn't necessarily a question. I like how distressed a lot of the costumes are. I like how dirty they are, but like especially with like Riff, whether he's wearing like a tank top with stuff splayed across it, or like I think in Cool I noticed how his like sleeves are rolled up, and it made me wonder like how many days has he been wearing that shirt and like not changing that shirt. That's something that I like. That was a real contrast to the originals, where everything is so beautiful and everything like that. That's just another comment that I wanted to sort of throw out there.
Well, I mean, I think that what you point out is that's how the film starts out. That we are in this land of rubble. Where they in some of the lines that Riff speaks to Tony. He's talking about the dust that's being created because of the destruction of their community. And the clothing, I wanted to reflect that. That within all this rubble, that this is their playground ostensibly. And what's important for them is not changing a shirt. It's not. It is expressing themselves throughout the city. And making mess. And so I wanted to have the distressing be reflective of that as much as I could.
And I think the sort of opposite of that is sort of a scene like the dance at the gym. That's my favorite part. That's my favorite piece of music from West Side Story. I love how the dance at the gym is really like a supervised mini rumble, where everyone is all like gussied up and everyone looks so great, and like the movement of the costumes in that scene, my God, I was just like gobsmacked when I was watching it. In terms of like specific pieces, I feel like I could talk to you about every single dress that every single character wears in this, but I guess I want to know really about Anita's yellow dress in America. There's some color in there. I like how in that dress, and also the dress that she wears at the gym with the red underneath it, it's sort of out in flashes. It reminds me a lot of her personality. There's a lot of brightness there that you can't see coming almost. What can you tell me about that specific dress? Because I think like Rita Moreno's purple dress is iconic, Ariana DeBose's yellow dress has also become already iconic.
Thank you for saying that. When you compare, Rita Moreno's dress, the purple dress from the 1961 film, which was also the same design for the Broadway production in '57, and the yellow dress, it is living at a different place within the story, because the purple dress is actually the dance of the gym dress for the 1961 film. For our film, Anita is in the yellow dress for America, which is the middle of their day, or the larger part of their daytime of that day, so the fact that it's daytime, it's a sunny day, there's great joy that's being expressed, with that number. The Latinx community of New York kind of coming together and expressing their joy at being citizens of New York, of being Americans, basically. and embracing that as, that newness and, a new way of living. And I wanted for that excitement and that joy to, to be represented with the yellow that I dressed Anita in. And so you could always see her, that she becomes the focus, that she becomes the center, and then all that energy is swirling around and radiating out of her. So
yeah, she's a spark in that scene. Like,
yeah. And then, speaking of the red, the red for Stephen, was very important, and you see how it pops throughout the film. But that, for those two numbers, The Dance of the Gem and For America, that red is really, kind of, the smoldering heat of Anita, and then also her joy that explodes as well.
It's also two scenes where she's always with Bernardo.
Yep.
Like, yeah. Okay. I wanted to ask about Tony, but I feel like we don't have too much time left. So I'll ask you, my favorite thing to ask costume designers is, if you could steal something from your own closet from your design, what would you take? Because I love that there's like a bluish or turquoise jacket that anybody's wears that has sort of like a white, like kapow graphic on it that I want so badly. And I was wondering if you could tell me something of your designs that you would like swipe for yourself.
Oh gosh,
there's a lot. There's a lot.
Well, the 50s is such a great period. Stylistically, it's such a great period for menswear and for women's wear. I happen to love Riff's jacket that he wears for Dance of the Gym. It's a two-tone jacket. It's kind of a blue-gray and a navy, but it's this fleck pattern that's very 50s. And it's got pick stitching that's around, some of the detailing of the scene. That would be one. I love Bernardo's America shirt. It's black with red and white accent.
Like the high pants too. Like
they're all my babies, and they're all designed that I could potentially wear, given the opportunity.
Yeah, totally. Well, thank you so much for your time. I meant to say this at the beginning. You're from Akron, and you went to Carnegie Mellon. I am from Pittsburgh, and I went to Point Park, and I now live in Columbus. So it was sort of like we went this way. So
yeah. I taught at Carnegie Mellon. I went to North Carolina School of the Arts and at NYU, and I had the opportunity to teach in 2003. So that was great. I love it. I used to go to we used to go to the art museum when I was growing up. So
that's I miss it. Thank you so much for your time. I'm really rooting for you. And as you can see from I had like 5,000 other questions I could ask you. So hope you get nominated. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Joey. All right. Have a great day.